Okay, so yesterday the Boston Celtics was completely blown out by the Milwaukee Bucks, and I expected the Bucks to win this game. Because like I said before, Boston has a habit of costing themselves wins. And sometimes they look like they don't know what the hell they're doing out there, and that's exactly what happened last night. I watched some of the second half of the second quarter. I can't watch an entire Boston game, because the way they play sometimes really irritates me, and I get caught up in not really paying attention. So I just don't watch the game as much anymore. And I may watch like the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, maybe the entire fourth quarter. Depending on the situation. Sometimes I'll watch the whole game, depending on the situation or what game it is. But I can't watch an entire Boston game because what I feared would happen eventually happened. And I can't even say feared. What I expected to happen happened yesterday. So I was watching the game. Boston was up. They were really, putting the pressure on Milwaukee. Like they were in the first game. And then Milwaukee went on a slight run that got them up. Giannis was able to get into the paint. It was opening up 3-point shots at the line. Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, they were getting open shots. Even Eric Bledsoe was getting going. And so they went up. I think they were up by like 7 or 10 or something like that. So then Milwaukee fell in love with the 3-point shot, where every time they would just come up the court, they would just try to find an open 3-point shot and they'll just shoot it. And I'm sitting there looking at the game like, just drive to the paint, drive to the basket, attack the basket. But they're shooting 3-point shots. Boston, Kyrie's getting into the lane. He's hitting fadeaway jumpers, pretty much fadeaway floaters. Over the Milwaukee Bucks. He's getting these shots to fall. They're hitting they're starting to hit 3-point shots. It's kind of like football where, using the run to set up the pass. If you drive inside and finish at the rim, the defense is forced to collapse on you. And that leaves guys open at the 3, which makes for easier shots. But it seems like they don't think that works the entire game. So I saw Milwaukee eventually give up their lead to Boston, attempt the 3-point shots, like crazy. And then once Boston took the lead, then they started falling in love with the 3-point shot where nothing else mattered but shooting 3-pointers and getting up with. And I said it, the only way you could beat Boston is if Boston beats themselves by playing the way they do sometimes. And the way they played last night was the way they play when they get the shit kicked out of them. And this happens, and I expected it to happen. I didn't expect them to lose by 20, but Jesus, hopefully this wakes them up. So they lost. They lost by a shitload because of their stubbornness to let the 3-point ball go. And it's not even like it was just Boston, it was Milwaukee as well. The only thing that Milwaukee did to kind of give them the win was they stopped. I didn't even watch the rest of the game, but I'm just assuming that after that, what drove up their lead was they was mixing it up. Giannis was probably killing them inside, and he was making it easier for his supportive cast to get their shots. Now, when I looked at the box score, Giannis had I believe 31 or something. He had in the 30s. Middleton had 28. Bledsoe had 21. That's the only way Milwaukee will win this series is if Giannis gets going in the paint and he forces his way. He finds ways. Budenholzer has to get him open. He has to help Giannis get open. If you can get Giannis space to get where he wants on the floor, you can't stop him. He's too long. Like he did a fucking Dr. J like layup last night, and I was like, there's nothing you can do if he gets the space. But Boston in game 1 was so smothering, it completely took that away. Now, if they could find ways to get him open, that gives them a better shot to win. I still don't believe that Milwaukee will win. I don't think they have enough. I think if Boston really was committed to being the team that they need to be to win this series, they will win this series in 6 games, and I honestly believe that. But the way they played last night, they got to stop playing like that. And this is the problem, and this is what I said. It's wrong with the league nowadays. Now everything is 3-point shooting. If you can't shoot perimeter shots, the chances of you actually playing diminish unless you can find other ways to contribute at a high level. Like I made this comment on a website, and I said that it does diminish your playing time if you can't shoot threes. Just look at Brook Lopez. Now this nigga shooting threes now. And somebody said Ben Simmons, DeAndre Jordan, like Clint Capella. Listen, centers are different. All right, you don't need to be, if you can rim protect, block shots, rebound at a high level, defend at a high level, you're valuable. But for guards and forwards, you have to be able to shoot the three. You have to. Now, the thing about Ben Simmons is this dude is a power forward masquerading as a point guard. He can't shoot. The only thing he really can do is he has the size and the length at the guard position that gives him an advantage defensively, which is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's not fair, because, I mean, you take whatever advantage you can get. But, I mean, he's a different story, and he's playing as much as he is because of different circumstances. But I'm going to let them talk, man, and I'm going to... Giannis had 29. I thought he had 30. I was off. Break that board down. What transpired in this game, they made 23. You make 23 more times than not, you're going to win the game. And I'm pretty sure the way they made those threes was Giannis was able to attack the lane, and he was able to draw the defense in to help stop him, which afforded the... Look, Boston defensively, I watched some of the games that Boston has played over the past couple of years, and I watched them defensively especially just to see how they worked. And when they're lazy on defense, which I said sometimes they can be lazy, they can do some shit that make you go, why? Like, they show no effort. Like, I saw Brook Lopez had a wide open look. I think Al Horford closed out on him as fast as he could. Brook Lopez pump faked. Al Horford flew by him. Like, obviously that happens. And then he stepped to the side and drained a fucking 3-pointer. I was like, was that Brook Lopez? Like, because he knocked that shit in just off the back of the rim. Like it was nothing. And it was because he was wide the fuck open. And the defense had to do a late closeout, which that's terrible defense. Because, you're not in the person's face. You're just jumping up in the air that you could stop him long enough to fucking throw him off, which that almost never works. But that's, he just had to open. And that's usually defensively, Boston is just lazy. Like, I don't know, man. They just don't show the same level of intensity or energy on defense sometimes, especially in these big losses. Like, you'll see that defensively they are just so lacking in the effort category. It's crazy. But I've already said this, man. And I said Milwaukee needed to win this game. Because if they lose this game, the advantage is completely in Boston's court. Now they have a better chance to be able to, if they could win a game, if they could win game 3 in Boston and find a way to win another game in Boston, yeah, Milwaukee will win this series, and it won't go 6 games. 6 games, I don't believe, because I mean, the momentum in sports is so important, and if you can ride that momentum while keeping the other team demoralized in a way, the world is yours. Now Boston has to answer. And Kyrie just said, this is what you traded for me for. Like, for these type of moments, they have to show up. Kyrie can't shoot 4 for 18. That can't happen again. I mean, Kyrie is one of the most impressive offensive players in the NBA with the type of shit that he can do. And he doesn't use James Harden tricks to get his shots. He's just a phenomenal ball handler, super fast, and a phenomenal finisher at the rim. And if you give him enough space at the three-point line, he'll kill you there. James Harden just uses the rules to bend a little bit to be able to exploit whatever. And I'm not saying it like it's a negative thing. If it works for you, great. If you're not breaking rules, if you're not cheating, great. But the way Kyrie plays offense is far more, how do you say it? I was thinking like technical. There you go. It's far more technical. Like, it's different than the way James Harden plays basketball. So he can't go 4 for 18 anymore. If he does, they're definitely going to lose. I also said Milwaukee, the only thing that they really have that they can hang their hat on as something that they're really good at is defense. They're so long. Giannis is such an advantage defensively, man, because I see him on one side of the court manage to take a couple steps to either side, whichever side he's on, he takes a couple steps to the other side, and he's in great position to block your shot. So defensively, they're really good. Offensively, not so much, man. That's why Boston's pressure was able to negate whatever they did. And Budenholzer, listen, man, Budenholzer is a one-trick pony. If you can stop what he does, if you can stop what his team does and force them to improvise on the fly, they'll fail.
Now all of a sudden, you can't help on Giannis. You got to stay on Middleton. I've watched the Milwaukee Bucks. The guy that doesn't get enough credit. Normally when they he had an awful game.
He won Friday night here at the Celtics. He did. He took the game over on the day he got his contract extension. Remember that?
Why you gotta bring up old dude? I did not see this what happened when 2 runs.
I didn't see a 20-point loss coming, but I did see Milwaukee winning this game. I was hoping Boston would not do what they normally do to lose games, and they did it anyway. So, but I definitely figured Milwaukee would win this game. But I also thought that I also believe that come next game, Boston at home, there's no way they're going to come out and lay an egg like they did in this one at home. They can't. There's no way you can do that. They're going to win game 3. There's the chances of winning game 4 is high, but they gotta stay in it. They have to stay in it. If the moment that they let their foot off the gas pedal, Milwaukee would capitalize. You have to stay in it. They can win the next 2. Milwaukee may win their game at home. Boston has to finish them off at home in game, game 6. They have to finish them off. If you give it a game 7, I'm giving the series to Milwaukee. If Milwaukee could get the series to game 7, if they don't win it before then, if they could get it to game 7, Milwaukee will win their series, man. I put all the chips on their side. Boston has to win this in 6 games. They have to win these next 2. Even if they lose to Milwaukee on the road, they have to win their home game in game 6. And that was my thinking. That's why I thought they would win in 6 games, because they would win their next 2 at home. They will probably lose to Milwaukee at Milwaukee, and then they will win on the road. If they don't win that game on the road, that's if it gets that far. They'll lose in game 7.
I'm not surprised that they won. I'm surprised at the margin of victory which they used. And if you can tell me they're going to get 29 from Giannis, they're going to get 21 from Bledsoe, I'm going to say they're going to win a lot of games. Because those big 3 guys are very, very important. And Giannis was unbelievable.
All right. That's a great stat line, and yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to produce a lot of wins. But Boston played shitty in this game. Like, you can't look at Milwaukee's performance and say that's the reason why they won, and and not pay any attention to the way Boston played. And people and this is the problem with stats. People get so caught up in stats. Oh, this is the reason. That's the reason. I mean, look at this percentage right here. That's the reason. No, look at the game. Look who's in the game. Sports is about 50% mindset. Half of any sport you play is mindset. If your mind is in the game, you have a better chance. You'll fare better than when your mind is not in the game. Like 50% of sports is mindset. And you can just tell who's into it and who's not by the way they're playing on the court and wins versus losses, man. Like, and the little sample size that I had last night, and when I turned the game off, at that point, Boston was just doing whatever they wanted to do, and that's not even a good thing. It just looks so sloppy out there. I turned it off. I was like, you know what? I'll just check back later. And at that point, I got a notification on my phone at the end of the third quarter to tell me that they were down like by 26. I was like, God damn, like. Going into the fourth quarter, not halftime, going into the fourth quarter, they were down by 26. I'm like, what the fuck? So I was like, they're going to lose this game. I thought they would have a chance late in the game, but they just couldn't get their shit together, and they eventually lost. And this is why people think Milwaukee will most likely get to the NBA Finals, because of games like this. And I don't believe so, because Milwaukee's not that talented. I'm not saying they can't get there, but they're just not that talented. And sometimes you have not that talented teams, they get deep into the playoffs. Like, I don't want to throw them out there, man, because I thought they were better than they actually were. The Indiana Pacers, when they played the Miami Heat, I thought Roy Hibbert was better than he actually was. I thought Lance Stevenson was better than he actually was. Paul George was the only guy on that team that I could say that I had faith in. And really, that was saying too much. That team was a lot less talented than than where they were placed in the playoffs. Where they placed in the playoffs when they were knocked out. They were not an Eastern Conference team. I'm sorry. And the fact that that series went 6 games was... I don't know. I didn't get it. All right. After a while, after I realized the type of team they were, but Milwaukee's not that talented, man. Just like the Atlanta Hawks wasn't that talented. But who knows, man? Sometimes shit happens in the playoffs. People step up, they play better than expected, and that's it.
So, James' question, I was stunned by what I saw last night. And I was extremely disappointed with what I saw in the Boston Celtics. I said they would win the series. In fact, I proclaimed after game 1 that it was already over. I still think Boston.
Yeah, people got... No, this series is not over. It's not over until the final fucking time ticks off the clock. All right. I didn't say it was. I said if they win game 2, this series is close to really being over. And it might even be a sweep. But Milwaukee luckily won the second game. And in the fashion they won it, it's putting a lot of doubt in people who supported who picked Boston to win the series. It put a lot of doubt in their minds. It didn't put any doubt in my mind. I knew this was coming. Because Boston plays like this. Sometimes they play like this. And... I don't know. I already, like I said, 6 games. That's what it's going to go.
Last night, horrifying. I'm going to remind everybody.
And this is a guy who's a Spurs fan who hates Kawhi Leonard. He doesn't watch Boston games unless it's the playoffs. He doesn't watch Boston games. And these are the type of guys that are commentating on his team. This is why I said Paul Pierce, when it comes to Boston, Paul Pierce is right a lot because he watches Boston. I watch Boston. I pay attention to what they do. Paul Pierce could probably tell you everything that's great about that team and everything that's bad about that team that they need to change. Just like I most likely will be able to. It's these guys who don't watch Boston, who has their affiliations are somewhere else, that don't watch this team, and you can tell because they're surprised by the outcome. They're surprised by. I was only surprised that it got as bad as it did. They're surprised that they lost. Period. But whatever.
1:14 left in the first half. Boston led this game 51-50. In the first quarter of this game, Mr. Giannis scored exactly no baskets. He didn't make a single goal in the first quarter. And all of a sudden, the threes started to rain from the sky.
Because Boston took their foot off the gas pedal. And I could probably tell you why. I didn't know that Giannis didn't score a point in the first quarter because I didn't watch I watched like the middle of the second half. Middle of the second quarter. They probably thought, well, we shut him down in the first game. We got him down in this one. Maybe we could take it easy a little bit. We could take a break. We could because we're most likely going to be in it at the end of the game. And then what happened? Like any fucking NBA team can do, if you give them enough rope, they'll hang you with it. That's what happened.
Before I could sort of absorb what was happening, the Milwaukee Bucks had taken the most threes they've ever taken in a playoff game and made the most threes. They made 20 of 47 three-point shots. Both playoff franchise records, 20 of 47. Well, I'm here to say, if they can make 20 of 47 from here on, they're going to beat Boston. They're going to beat whoever else in the Eastern Conference Finals. They're going to beat Golden State because that's unbeatable. And what
But they
astounded
took the
me,
second on threes, though. Skip. People don't know that about Milwaukee. They attempted the second on
this is like 47 is a lot of threes. And once they started
47 is a shitload of threes. That's like the field goal attempt number in a quarter. And you shot that in 3-pointers? Like, that's crazy, man.
Once Chris Mills, by the way, didn't make the All-Star team, once he started making it, he made 7 of 10, then everybody was just...
That's what Giannis needed, man. Giannis needed Chris Middleton to step up. Middleton was I believe he was an All-Star last year as well. He needed Middleton to step up. Middleton was shit in that first game. He needed Middleton to step up. Now, can Middleton do it for the rest of the series? That I don't know. Middleton is a phenomenal scorer. But is he a consistent 25-point scorer? Can he be that in the playoffs? Don't know.
They fell from everywhere, from everybody. And the third quarter was shocking to me because Boston got blown off the map in the third quarter. It was 38-19. Milwaukee had 6 threes in the second quarter and 6 more in the third quarter. That's just hard to deal with. It's just hard to fight that off. But now to my man, Kyrie Irving, after I proclaimed him suddenly happy after game 1, I don't know what he was last night. Off game before 18.
That's all it was, man. It was an off game. Now, an argument could be made, and this could be another discussion, is it going to carry into the next game. But that's all this was. That's all this was. It's not like Kyrie got hurt. It's not like he went like 0 for like 35 or some shit. He went 4 for 18. It was a bad game against a good defensive team. That's all it was. And I'm going to cut it here. I may finish the rest of this, but I'm going to cut it here. But I knew this was going to happen. And if you take anything from what I'm saying about the Boston Celtics, the Celtics can win in dominating fashion, but they can also lose the game because of stubbornness. So I'm done.